Where are you originally from, and what made you decide to open the Trump store in Christiansburg?
Originally, I'm from Lynchburg, Virginia. That's where I was born and raised. And I decided to open the Trump store in actually it was 2021. And that was right after COVID or even during COVID. When, I would go put on my Trump hat and go through Walmart, Home Depot, or Lowe's, because they were majorly the only stores open. And people would say, "Hey, I like your hat." Or they would lean over and say, "Hi, I like that hat." Or they'd give you the thumbs up, or they whisper. And I said, "Why are we whispering? We have freedom of speech. We can wear what we want to wear and do what we want to do in this country." And so I decided that, we need to be able to express ourselves. So I went to a gentleman that I had met during 2020, and I had bought some items from him. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to open a store. And so that's why I did it. So like-minded people could gather and talk freely.
How long have you been a Trump supporter, and what policies about Trump draws you to him?
I've been a Trump supporter ever since actually 2007. That was way before he ever ran. And it's not necessarily the policies, it is about our country. And for me, I love this country, I love this nation, and I have been watching my nation and concerned about my nation ever since I was 15 years old. And I always studied trends, and I saw that the nation itself, the culture, was trending in the wrong way. And I said, this is not the kind of country that I want to live in or raise my child in or children in. I have one child now. But as far back as I was 15 years old, I found out that, we sometimes get too busy. And during my young life, I had a career. And, when you're young and you're into your career, you're working and, you just don't pay attention to what's happening in the culture. In other words, we disconnect from what's really happening in Washington, D.C. Are our representatives still protecting the Constitution of the United States? You see, when I grew up in school, we recited the Pledge of Allegiance. We also recited the preamble to the Constitution. I know what the Constitution says because I grew up in the 60s, in the 70s, and so actually in the 60s. And so during the 70s, I thought things are going awry, with all the rioting and things like that. But I learned something. I read a book, it was by John Nesbitt, and the book was Megatrends. And I started studying trends. And I thought, this trend is going the wrong way. So that was my interest. It even went back as far as when I was 10, 11, 12 years old. National Geographic was my favorite magazine, and my mother subscribed to that magazine for me. And I would study the peoples of the world and how they lived. And I thought, why? There has to be a reason for the poverty in Africa. And the one thing I always tell people when they ask about racism, you know what I say? I am so thankful, and I used to pray every night, that my ancestors did not miss the boat from Africa, because I'm in America. And according to Acts 15:26, those are the boundaries for me. And that's where I'm supposed to be in order to carry out my purpose.
I feel like this is probably a question you get quite often, but do you ever feel like you experience a different type of support because you are a Black woman?
Okay, I don't identify any way except that I'm an American. I identify by my nationality. I am an American. I'm not a hyphenated American. I'm not an African American. I am an American. In my background, I have Caucasian. There is American Indian and also Black. So we all a melting pot. So I am an American, a proud American. So how do I identify with him? Two things. One thing I know is he was chosen by God. This is his purpose, and he is playing out his purpose. His purpose is to restore the nation. He restores the nation through policies. So it's not about policies, and it's not about our issues. It's about the goal of the country. And this is the way I like to explain it. We're all in a boat on the sea of life. And if we sit there and punch holes in the boat, individual holes, we all sink eventually. The other thing is, I like to say it this way, plantations. If we take America and carve it up into slices, there's a disability plantation, there is a Black plantation, there's African American plantation, Hispanic, Arab American. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And now it's transgender plantations. I'm not on a plantation. We came out of that mentality a long time ago. Why do we want to go back and separate ourselves by having a politician put us on a plantation so that they can use us and target us to stay in power? I'm smarter than that. And you know what I believe? I believe the country is smarter than that. Now let me get back to what your question really was. What do I see in President Trump? The reason why I admire President Trump, I trust President Trump, number one, he does what he says he will do. But President Trump has the qualities every statesman should have, and this is why we should vote for them. Number one, he cannot be bribed. He has his own money, so therefore he cannot be controlled. And number two, he fiercely loves this country to the point of death and sacrifice. No other president or person or politician has sacrificed what this man has. And that is honor. He is bringing honor back. And that's what I see the young people, they're really coalescing around him, is because that's what they want. They want someone of honor and character. And that's where we're headed. We're headed to restoration. We're not a democracy. We are a republic.